in today's session of Divorce Court. Jamie Pym says Derek's dream of becoming a rock star ruined their marriage.
You don't marry a man in a rock band and expect him to be home 6 nights a week.
I would have a whole different outlook on the band if he was bringing in money.
If he's gone all the time, like you say, that means you don't have a man around to take care of your physical needs either, right?
I call her at 3 a.m. in the morning, and a known lesbian answers my phone.
A known lesbian?
They were talking about having a sexual
Oh.
How often did you ask me to do that kind of stuff, Derek?
I had already made up my mind that I didn't want to be with her.
I was totally in love with him.
Now she wants answers as Jamie Pym squares off one last time with Derek Walker in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Jamie Pym versus Derek Walker. Mrs. Pym, I'm advised that after 1 year of marriage, you're ready to end it.
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
But shouldn't you wait it a little longer and see if it works?
No, 3 weeks before I had my baby, he left me, and I found out he was with another woman.
Just while you were pregnant?
Correct.
That's not true.
And he
Your
just
Honor.
left with another
That's
woman. You
not
weren't
how it
satisfied with your having a wife and her being pregnant?
First of all, I had already made up my mind that I didn't want to be with her in the first place.
So then you
Because
should.
other
You made up
things
your
have
mind, but
happened.
did you communicate it to her?
No,
You
not
should
at
have
the, not
told
at
me
the
that.
time I didn't.
And why were you leaving? Why had you made up your mind the marriage was over?
Because I was on tour in my band. I play in a band. I was
And of
on tour
course,
in my
that
band.
Finish, Miss Pym.
Sorry.
And prior to me leaving on tour, I have an 8-year-old boy. She has 2 other children.
So you're son by a prior relationship?
Right, right.
Okay.
She had gave me an ultimatum letter stating that she couldn't handle my son living with us anymore, that he should go back and live with my mother where he was previously.
Because he would not
And
help
let me
raise
finish
his son.
talking first.
I was the one raising
No,
your
Miss
son.
Pym, let him
On
finish
top-
and then I'll give you a time to respond to that.
On top of everything else, I've been playing in this band for 8 years. She tells me it's me or the band, and I'm leaving on tour for 3 weeks. So I'm thinking about this whole 3 weeks. I get back, I ask her, I tell her, my son's gonna come back to live with us. She tells me, no, he's not. So by this time, I'm just like, okay, then I can't do that.
Did you have 2 children?
I did.
And you had 2 children from a previous relationship?
Correct. I was
Did
married
he
to that man.
complain about you having those 2 children and meaning that his money would have to go to support
No,
them and
no.
they were not his children?
No.
But you complained about his other child.
It wasn't that I complained about it. It was just that he didn't help
Your
out
Honor,
to raise them. He didn't help to
She
discipline
didn't treat
them.
my child
Did you
the
talk
same
about that
anyway.
before you married?
It wasn't until after we were married till I started seeing it.
Seeing what?
How he was, the way he was as far as being a father, about being a husband, how he was never home, how he didn't spend time with the kids, how it was always me doing everything, taking the kids.
You know what?
Your
I think
Honor,
that
Your Honor.
it was not until after you were married that you realized it and accepted it. But see, that's the problem when you marry somebody and you don't think about what his or her profession is. You don't marry a man in a rock band and expect him to be at home at 5 o'clock in the evening. That's
Correct.
not real. You don't marry a man in a rock band and expect him to be home
No, but I don't
6
marry a
nights
man
a week.
who brings in his son and says, okay, here, you be a mom, not a wife.
Yes, you
Your
do.
Honor.
When you marry a man in a rock band who has another child who he wants to raise, and he marries you and he has a wife, and you have 2 other children whom he's willing to raise, why is it fair for you to have your 2 children there surviving off his money?
Because
and
he hasn't
whenever
been
hold on a
raising his
second.
son.
Why is that fair when he can't bring his child into this relationship? Isn't that kind of lopsided?
The thing that what made this more harder on me was I was working a full-time job. I was pregnant, basically going through the pregnancy by myself because he wasn't supporting this pregnancy whatsoever. He wanted me to have an abortion
So you
with
got
our
pregnant
child.
right away?
It was about 2 months after we were married, I found out I was pregnant.
What did you say to her about her 2 children? What was your attitude about her having 2
love her 2
children and you were
children.
going into the marriage?
I love her 2 children. I still do love her 2 children.
How long did you date before you married?
About 6 months.
And during the 6 months of dating, what did you observe about him and his music and his rock band?
I loved him to death when we were together.
But what did
and
you
I
observe
liked-
about it? How much time did he really focus on you?
I observed the way he was with his band. I did notice that.
But what did you notice? Tell me, what did you notice?
I noticed the way he was always at practice. I guess maybe I didn't realize what I was getting into. I guess we could say that.
I'm glad to hear you say that because that's exactly what happened. You closed your eyes to the truth.
But I was totally in love with him, and that's...
I understand that, but if you're in love with a person, you have to be in love with what they do. You got to allow that person to be who and what they are.
I would have a whole different outlook on the band if he was bringing in money from the band.
That's the issue.
He was taking money.
Wait a minute. Now you hit on something that really is the bone of contention. Not only is he not here, he's not here for me physically either. He's not here for me emotionally either. And then he doesn't bring any money home. Now that's the bone of contention.
He put more money into the band.
I have a full-time job.
What's the full-time job?
I'm a journeyman carpenter.
So between those two professions, you still weren't bringing home enough money?
No, because he didn't bring no money home from the band. He put more money into the band, buying his strings for his guitar getting fixed.
Your Honor, that's not true.
All this. Plus,
she did not acknowledge my band whatsoever.
What do you mean by that?
She did not, we have to pay rent for where we rehearse at. $35 a month.
But the rent for your band can't come before the rent for the house.
Yes, when we can't pay our bills for electricity and gas.
But she would never include it in the bills.
Of course I'm not going to include it in our bills.
What do you mean she wouldn't include it in the bills?
She would add up all the bills.
And never include your expenses?
I would not include it when our gas bill wasn't getting paid and our power bill wasn't getting paid.
So between his two professions and yours, you didn't have enough to pay the utility bills?
No, we didn't. We had enough money to pay our rent, and that's probably about it.
So in other words, he's gone and you don't have a man around to help you raise the children. You don't have a man around, you're saying, to contribute to you financially. And then, of course, if he's gone all the time, like you say, that means you don't have a man around to take care of your physical needs either, right?
Well, yeah, I guess.
You guess?
Well, I'm on tour.
Is he gone all the time?
Your Honor, I'm on
gone.
tour. I call her at 3 a.m. in the morning, and a known lesbian around our town answers my phone.
A known lesbian?
I say,
yeah, and
what is she doing there? And she goes, oh, nothing.
How often did you ask me to do that kind of stuff, Derek?
Where are you
Just
guys?
because she's a friend.
Wait a minute.
How
often did you ask me to do that kind of stuff? He asked you.
He always wanted me.
And did you do it?
No way. No way.
When divorce court returns, Derek testifies about Jamie's attraction towards another woman.
Prior to me going on tour, they were talking about having a sexual
relationship. We did not.
I might be interested in doing something with her.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. Divorce Court is back in the case of Jamie Pym, who says her husband Derek left her 3 months before she gave birth to their child.
He was one who wanted me to get friends with this girl.
No.
And so I became friends with her. Yeah, she's not a known lesbian. She has been in bisexual relationships, but she's not a known lesbian.
So was she in a bisexual relationship with you while he was on the road?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We were friends. I'm not one that likes staying home by myself. I have a friend staying at the house with me.
Where are you at? Are you downstairs? No, we're in bed.
The kids were downstairs. Oh, I didn't say
you
we're
and the lady
in bed,
was in bed together?
The kids were downstairs watching TV, and we were upstairs in my room watching a movie.
Where's Lorena? She's laying here right next to me. We're watching a movie. It's 3 a.m.
It was not 3 a.m., Derek.
So because she's there lying in bed with her at 3 a.m. watching a movie,
not mean...
are you saying that...
Prior to me going on tour...
I want to understand this.
Okay.
Two women who are friends cannot lay in bed and watch TV together when she's spending the night, when the children are downstairs watching a different program. They can't do that. They have to be having a sexual relationship.
The reason why I think they're having a sexual relationship is because prior to me going on tour, they were talking about having a sexual relationship.
We did not talk about it.
In your presence?
No, I talked to you about it, but I never talked to her about it.
I might be interested in doing something with her.
She said that to you? Your wife said that to you? So you did talk to him about that?
We had talked about it.
Yeah, with him. We had talked about it, but it never happened.
So naturally,
but he has just cause to be suspicious.
He's also living with another girl right now. He met a girl a week before I went in to have my baby. And while I was in having my baby, he sat there and told me how much he loved me, but then he's hanging out with her while I'm in the hospital. Then I get out of the hospital from having our baby, and he's leading me on, telling me how much he loves me, wants to be with me.
That's
and
not
3
true.
weeks later, yes, it is true. You know damn well that's true,
Oh,
Derek.
excuse me. I think
I'm
I've heard
sorry.
enough.
That is
3
not
weeks
true.
later, I
you've
find
been
out
good.
they're living
I think
together.
we better end this where it is because you're getting a little too excited now.
3
Your
weeks
Honor.
later,
You're about to
I
get out
find
of
out
here.
he's. Well, how am I not supposed to
Stop
get
while you're
excited
here, Miss
about that?
Pim. I've
Your Honor.
heard you. I understand.
I did meet a girl. She was my friend.
She was more than a friend, Derek. You know she was
would
more
come
than
over,
a friend.
and she was not more than my friend until she had told me I had been trying to get back with her. I was telling
Until she
her I
kicked you
love
out.
her. I
Of
tell
course
her
I
I
don't
love
want
her
to get
every
back
day.
with you when you're with somebody else,
Okay,
Derek.
the marriage
I move on with my
All
life.
right, the marriage is over.
Honor.
Let's move on. Where are we going from here?
I don't want to be with him anymore, and there's so many outstanding bills I have with this man. We have a
he said he
judgment.
paid them all.
No, we have a judgment because when he went on tour one time, we ended up getting kicked out of our apartment. We have a judgment under both our names for like
Let me
17,
see that.
huh?
A judgment?
Yes. Plus there's power
Does
bills.
that mean you weren't paying the rent when he sent you the money?
No, I paid the rent. I paid every bill. There's
So
a judgment.
what is the
There's
judgment
plus-
for?
It's for when we got kicked out of our house because he goes off for a month. That's a whole month's income that we don't have of his income.
I never
wait a
was
minute
gone for
now,
a month.
when
I
he-
was only
when he's
gone
on
for
tour
2
for a
weeks.
month.
I was only gone for 2 weeks.
But when he's on tour for a month, are you not getting paid?
No, he doesn't get paid. They put money
No,
in. They don't get paid nothing when they go on their tour. Don't tell her you get paid.
I wasn't
because
about
you don't.
to.
So what is
But
going
I had
on
made
tour?
arrangements. I had
You
made
put money
arrangements.
onto the tour.
I had made arrangements to get an advance from my boss to pay for my bills.
Well, you know, that is
No,
not.
but you didn't.
Hold on a second now. I've been kind of hard on Miss Pim, but Mr. Walker, if you have a family and you have children
takes
and
all
you
the
have
money.
a wife, and although you may enjoy and love the band and love your music, if that is not bringing something into the household, but instead is taking something out of the household, then part of
Well,
being
I'll
a
tell you.
hold on a second, don't
Okay.
cut me off.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Part of being a responsible adult is sometimes we do have to make lifestyle adjustments. And sometimes we can't really do what we want to do and achieve our dream
Especially with kids.
because at that particular moment, we have to think first and foremost about our children and about our family, and that has to be your ultimate priority. And although you loved your rock band, if it wasn't bringing you money, but was taking money out of the household,
kids have always
then you
been
needed to
they
reassess
haven't.
that. Nope. Here's a default judgment. Unpaid rent, $1,793.68. And the sad thing about it is there was only 1 month's rent due. This is totally ridiculous. 1 month, $231.60. That's all the rent
That's
was.
not what the,
Why-
that's not what the rent was.
You know what? I am reading this judgment. I'm reading it. It says unpaid rent of $231.60. What happened?
That's the amount of rent was not $231.
Is that the unpaid portion?
That because the reason why we have a judgment is because they kicked us out.
You know
and
what?
We stayed in the
Miss
apartment.
Pam, I know why you get a judgment. And it says the unpaid rent for that 1
Okay,
month.
but his income was basically the breadwinner. My income, basically, I worked to get insurance for the kids.
That's not what you told me at first. You said I paid all of the household expenses.
Oh, I know what I said.
Well, now you want to say something else?
When
on-
Derek's income is the basic income coming in, and he's gone on tour, not bringing in that income, and my income's basically the insurance. I didn't bring very much home when I worked. at
Okay, let me
Associated
tell you
Title.
something. This rental or this judgment trebled because of that. You didn't pay that $231.60. And that is foolishness. No matter how angry you are, no matter how upset we are, you just don't do
It
things
wasn't
like
about
that.
being upset. It was
There's
about
only
me
one
having to
reason
take
why
care
that
of the
rent
kids
didn't
by
get
myself
paid,
while
Your
he's
Honor.
off on tour.
Okay, but what
taking
happened?
money out
You're
of our
taking care of the
pocket.
kids. Why didn't that portion of the rent get paid?
Because how was I supposed to do that? He took all the money. He took all his paychecks with him on tour. He didn't
For
leave
that
me
month
money.
of December.
Huh?
For that month of December.
He
No,
took
that's
money.
not true.
Yes, you
I took
did.
$200 with me.
No,
on tour.
you didn't.
Okay.
You took more than that. Plus,
Now, what's
you had
these
a
other
checking
unpaid
account.
bills?
The bill for the gas company and the bill for the power, because he was always paying, lying to me about his paychecks, not bringing home the exact amount that he was supposed to for the bills. And so there's unpaid gas bills, there's unpaid power bills that I can't even get power turned on into my apartment now with my children.
Did you get upset with him and so angry over the fact that he was on the that he was on tour and he was with this band and that he had you had his 8-year-old
And not
son
pay the
that you
bills?
refused to pay these
Is that what I
expenses
did,
and try
Derek?
to teach him a lesson?
Is that what I did, Derek? Or can you honestly
you know what,
say
Miss
that
Pam,
we did not
Pam,
have the money to pay for the bills?
I asked you the question. Answer.
We did not have, even there was times my brother had to help
Ms.
me
Pam,
pay
my
the bills.
question to you is simply this. You were getting uptight about the fact that you are the only parent at home, taking care of the children all the time. You were feeling that all of this was on you. And you had his 8-year-old son. You were disgusted with that. Sometimes when we get upset, we decide, I'm not going to do anything. Did you also decide, I'm tired of this, I'm not paying these bills?
No, that's not what I did.
Your Honor.
At all, that's not what I did.
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict.
These are all child support payments. And these are $10 off coupons. I don't know what that is.
No.
And an update on the case of Regina Kaufman versus Bill Kaufman.
She had no underwear on. She admitted that they had foreplay but no sexual intercourse.
Divorce Court will be back in session in a moment. Divorce Court is back in the case of Jamie Pym, who says her husband Derek's dream of being in a rock band was more important than their marriage and their children.
There's only one reason why those bills aren't paid.
What's that?
Christmas. I gave
So
her
it
money. Her kids and my child got a very good Christmas.
Okay.
And that's why those bills
So
aren't
even
paid.
if she mismanaged the money and bought Christmas gifts as opposed to paying the utility bills and as opposed to paying the rent, the fact remains it didn't get paid.
Right,
And the
but-
fact remains,
and then-
hold on a second,
Okay.
and the fact remains it must be paid.
Okay, later on in the relationship, I gave her money. I gave her over almost $5,000.
What do you
You-
mean later
Sure.
on in the relationship? These
Yeah,
are
he gives me
unpaid
child support
expenses.
for my baby.
Right. She called me and says, I can't get the gas turned on in my name. So I gave her the money
So
to go
you
get
have
it.
some
You
receipts.
give me
I gave her-
child support.
actually, I
Okay,
gave
let
her
me
the
see
half.
your receipts
You
quickly.
give me child support.
This is what we're talking about
pay her
after the
rent.
separation, right?
Correct.
That's a sufficient amount of money there.
Okay, well, these are all child support payments. And these are
Right.
$10 off coupons. I don't know what that is.
No. You
Oh,
gotta
it's
read it.
money order receipts.
Yeah.
Okay. Money order receipts. All right, $750. Well, Ms. Pym,
When he first left me, he was still helping me because I did not have a job when he left me. when I
well,
was
Ms.
pregnant.
Pym, looking at these child support and these other money orders receipts that he's given you money since the separation, totaling about $2,000, it appears that, when he gives you money like that, the purpose of it is to pay utility bills.
How are you supposed to do all that? Take the money that I work.
I don't know,
a
but
job,
I'm not,
okay?
the utility bills, I'm not going to order him to reimburse you for. This judgment for the rent for the place that you occupied together, the two of you occupied together, it is both of your responsibility. As a matter of fact, the judgment itself is against both of you. So I don't have to order anything. The judgment is against both of you, so it means that the creditor will come after both of you if it's not paid. So each of you is responsible for half of the judgment. The utility bills, he was sending you money on a regular basis since separation, could have paid the utility bills. All right? That's the court's order. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
When Divorce Court returns, an update on the case of Regina Kaufman versus Bill Kaufman.
We got into a fight in front of the boys, and he threw me up against the wall. So coincidentally, I lost a baby that I didn't even know I was pregnant with.
Closed captioning for Divorce Court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. And now for an update on a previous case in Divorce Court. Regina Kaufman said the first sign that her marriage was over was when she found her husband Bill in bed with his co-worker.
She had no underwear on. She admitted that they had foreplay but no sexual intercourse.
I have evidence in front of me, Judge, that can prove that my wife is a compulsive liar.
But when he forced her to have sex with him, she knew then the marriage was over.
He told me, "You're my wife and you're going to give it to me whether you want it or not."
It's been one battle after another.
We got into a fight in front of the boys, and he threw me up against the wall. So coincidentally, I lost a baby that I didn't even know I was pregnant with.
What do I need to do so you don't ever have to see each other again?
Regina told the judge that she was forced to sign an agreement which gave her husband ownership of their family home. The judge found that the agreement was unfair and ordered Bill to pay her an additional $1,000. Regina now says she plans to volunteer at a domestic violence center so that she can help other women. She also plans on owning a daycare center and remarrying in the future. Bill says he is enrolled in a parenting class because he has started legal proceedings to gain full custody of their 3 sons. He also dreams of owning a hotel one day.
I can't talk to him for 5 seconds without getting angry and hanging up on him.
I don't have any idea why she wouldn't want to raise my son.
Marriage is definitely not in the near future for me at all. Maybe when I'm 40. I'm young, I'm gonna experience life now. And I'm gonna enjoy my kids, and that's it.